Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Wednesday, February 9, 2022, and the sun is in Aquarius, as is Saturn. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and it is also ruled by Uranus, traditionally by Saturn, and then less traditionally by Uranus. So there's this sort of co-parenting structure here where Saturn likes to do what's traditional, what's tried and true, that wants to do what works and wants to do the work, put in the work to make sure that we feel supported. And then Uranus wants to know what we can do differently. So this is where Aquarius sits, is that we look at what works for us. We look at those structures, especially on a community level or on a broader scope than just our home lives, that support us, that we rely on for the continuation of our livelihoods in one way or another. And it turns an eye toward what can be revised, refined, reworked, rebuilt in terms of those structures so that everybody has a stronger foundation. So that's where Aquarius is. We are in the last 10 days of the sun's transit through Aquarius, so we're going to be doing some review at this point of what that has been like for us and what we can bring forward with us. Right now, we just had Imbolc, which is the very beginning of spring. I don't know if you've noticed that the sun is coming out earlier. We're getting a lot more sun right now. Our lives are literally blooming with potential right now. We can't just sit around and think about what it would be like to have those community structures reinforced. We have to take the time to be engaged in life and enjoy the benefits of being part of a community. And that's what Aquarius calls us to do, is it calls us to come out of our strict consideration for ourselves and our own and come into a broader consideration and a collaboration with the human collective so that we can all get what we need. The moon today begins in Taurus and it moves into Gemini very early in the day. This represents a shift in the heart and the home from that earthen Taurus vibe that just wants to enjoy the sensual comforts of being in a body and being at home, to a more airy intellectual vibe that wants to talk and calculate solutions. We want to come up with answers to the questions that Aquarius is asking about our structures and foundations. And the moon is just now a waxing gibbous. Yesterday was the first quarter moon, so we have transitioned out of planning phase from the new moon to the first quarter moon. We set intentions and we plan. We sort of imagine what it's going to be like when our goals come into fruition. And now is the time to shift out of planning and back into acting. And you can see that I've already written on this because this is my second take. So whatever it is that you've been working on, long term or short term, if you have something that might culminate around the full moon coming up in about a week here, now's the time to, put your feet on the ground, make the phone calls, and do the things that will make your plan come into fruition. And let's take a look at these planets really quick, and then we'll get into the aspects. The sun is on the page always, all the time. The sun represents the outer life. This is who you are when you step out the door, the person that people first get to know when they meet you, and the, what do I want to say? The person you are in your work, social, and civic spheres. And following the sun is always the moon. The moon represents the inner life, and this is who you are on the inside, your relationship with yourself, your body, your heart, and your mind, and who you are at home as well as who is at home with you. Mercury is here. Mercury represents your personal intellect. That's your day-to-day thoughts, plans, and communications, and the running around that you do. Venus is here representing for Taurus, and Venus represents love and money. In other words, how do you relate to those people and things that you like, love, and can't get enough of? Mars is here, and Mars represents your personal sense of initiative. So whatever that fire is in your gut that gets you moving forward. Kyran is not a planet, it's an asteroid, and it represents healing, especially your personal capacity to heal and the stuff you're working on healing. Jupiter is about growth, positive expansion, good fortune, higher education, big business, travel abroad. Jupiter is about those experiences that expand us, that expand our experience and our potential. Saturn is about the structures that we rely on, the networks that we rely on for support and validation, and our responsibility or duty to maintain those structures. Uranus, again, asks what we can do differently. And Pluto brings us all through these sort of extremes of experience, these highs and these low lows, these deaths, these births. And through that, we are changed and we evolve into the next version of ourselves, which is hopefully, an improvement on the last version of ourselves. If we're doing it consciously, then definitely. Okay, so I'm going to skip the rest of this and we'll just go over it as we hit the aspects. I do have the page divided into 2 columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner life, and these very brief aspects really have more to do with our thoughts, feelings, and intuitions, what goes on the inside. The sun sheds light on our outer lives, and I address the rest of the planet's aspects over here because they have more to do with our outer lives, and they generally take longer than the lunar aspects. We start with the moon today. Central Standard Time, friends, at 4:27 in the morning. The moon makes ingress to Gemini. So again, this is a vibe where for a couple of days we're really from the heart and in the home, looking to communicate, looking to find solutions, looking to share ideas and create. So that's the vibe when the moon is in Gemini. Something that came up when I was reflecting on this, though, is that there may still be something that we're failing to see, and perhaps we can try to hear it instead, because part of communication is listening. Okay, so it's important to really listen in these conversations that we're having so that we can pick up on the things that really matter in terms of our own progress. Sometimes you're just missing it. Sometimes you can't see it. It's too close to you. And so maybe if somebody else can see it and they can tell you about it, then it's something that you can work on without getting prideful and going, oh, no, that's not me. Which I'm sure I've done a billion times in my life. Okay, and then late tonight at 11:28 p.m., the moon makes a square with Jupiter. So this is an invitation right now to enjoy this sense of radiant, expanding positivity. I can feel a link up here with what I had to say about Sun in Aquarius, like getting out and enjoying being a part of a community in whatever way that works for you, okay? So enjoy this sense of expanding positivity. And the square aspect comes in and brings the challenge. It says, please try to avoid overindulging in those things that you use to celebrate. Then on the sun side of the page, in the ongoing column, we have Mercury conjunct Pluto. And this is just a few more days. Actually, Mercury is going to conjunct Pluto again, like more precisely tomorrow. But we've been in this energy for a couple of weeks. Mercury went conjunct Pluto a couple of weeks ago while Mercury was in retrograde, and then it turned direct again, and it's come back to the same position with Pluto. So this has been a time of sort of inner revelation, of hard conversations that we have to have with ourselves, with trying to evolve and transform our way of relating in the world and to ourselves. And that's worthwhile work. With intention and willpower, we can apply acceptance and grace to ourselves and others in this time of transformation, okay? There's a lot of Mars on the page, so just want to really re-emphasize the intention, willpower, acceptance, grace, okay? Impatience can come in, especially when we're dealing with stuff we don't really want to have to deal with. When you're going through a transformation, when you are consciously in your changes, stuff is going to come up that you don't want to change. And that's simple. That's the simple truth. So, allow yourself some acceptance and grace. Say, yep, you're right. I don't want to change that. I've been clinging to it. And, just be kind to yourself and be kind to others as well, because it can be frustrating to be doing this deep work. But using that intention and using that acceptance and grace, this is the key to overcoming our fears. Okay, we can't push them away. We can't run away from them. I just saw something this morning about Carl Jung, and he was saying what you resist persists, right? So what we have to do when it comes to those things that we fear, those things that we're struggling with about ourselves, okay, especially those sort of shadow aspects, those things we try not to show ourselves and other people, the key is to embrace them, to give them love, to give them acceptance and grace, and to understand why they're there and why they're a part of us. So remember, intention, willpower, acceptance, grace. And then Mars square Kyran. Today is day 4 of 4 for this one. This can really bring out a lot of irritability, irrational anger, moody, low temperament, sharp tongues, even a little bit of aggressive or overly or like intense, not, I want to say overly, but intensely assertive behavior. Things are coming up. You're seeking solutions. You want to act. You want to make moves on the healing that you're doing, and you want to make moves on the solutions and the resolve that you need, right? So sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes we just feel a little frustrated, resistant. But listen, talk to someone you trust about that stuff that you're struggling with, and don't allow your anxiety or despair to keep you from a solution. Okay, so if you're stuck in your head and you're just playing this game with yourself, like no, I don't want to, no, fingers in the ears, la la la, right? If you're not having success having that conversation with yourself and it's just making you more mad, go to somebody you trust and say, look, I need to talk with you openly and honestly about this part of myself that I'm really resisting dealing with, and I need somebody to be kind to me but also very honest, right? And this ties back over here to this Moon and Gemini message that I received, like, be open to learning about yourself, even the difficult things, even the hard things, even like the mean and unkind things that you don't want to admit are part of you. And then today is 2 of 4 for this super exciting, fantastic Mars trine Uranus that I hope that we can carry forward with us. But, this is a great point of initiative. First I want to remind us that all of the planets right now are moving direct. They're all moving in the right direction. They're all doing exactly the things that they are made to do, and they're in their various signs, and they're doing them through those lenses. But there's no retrograde action here. Okay, there's nothing to review. There's nothing that you need to go back and look at. It's time to move forward, right? So this is initiative in a very positive, synchronistic, harmonious, ideally functioning vibration with the urge to do things differently. And I'll tell you what, Mars has been in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And I will go over the page and put all the Saturns down in a minute. But Mars has been in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Mars doesn't necessarily love being in Capricorn all the time, okay? So Mars does like to do work, show their strength, show, what they can do, but Mars is not really interested in being put to work, and Mars really wants to do, behave independently and choose the places where they put their efforts. And so, this Mars in Capricorn has been in a very strong worker mode, just put your head down and do it, Mars. And Mars is like, okay, but I hate this. So Mars in a trine aspect with Uranus here is really just saying, hey, it's okay to take initiative. Your intuitions, your instincts right now are spot on. So if there's anything that you want to act on, making a change, now is the time to do it. If there's something you've been considering doing, something you've been considering starting, something different, something new, then we welcome this opportunity to change up the routine and try something new with positive results at hand, okay? Our choices are gracefully made right now. Our actions are well orchestrated, and we can move with these changes quickly and easily. We're going to feel graceful as long as we can be gracious, right? So that is the aspects for today. Friday, Mercury makes its second iteration of that conjunct with Pluto. They'll be conjunct for another couple of days, and then Mercury is going to move on into Aquarius, and Pluto stays in, Mercury is going to move on to Aquarius, and Pluto stays in Capricorn again for the next year until next March. So let's go ahead and lay down these Saturns, okay? The Sun, all right, Mercury is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is currently in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. All right, so Capricorn here, this is all structure and work, okay? Capricorn here, and that's it. Hey, look, a little bit less of the Saturn vibe. So, you know, this idea I had that we can sort of look up from our work and start to re-engage in the community is really going to start to come up for us. And I'm happy to see that. You know, we love the work that we do. Hopefully, you know, we're engaged in work that we love. And if, you know, if we have a job that takes up a lot of our time, I hope you also have a pursuit that you work at that you love outside of your job. And I know that that can be tricky depending on who you are and what, you know, what your life is like and what you need. But I really strongly advise you to think about what kind of work you're doing in the world, Saturn, and you know, what changes need to be made to the structures of your own foundations, especially in the way that you relate to the world. So yeah, that's that. Saturn, all over the place still, but a little bit less impactful today. I like that. Not that Saturn is the enemy, just that, you know, Saturn's been hanging out and sort of like lounging around for a while, right? Okay, so at this point, I'm in the habit of throwing a tarot card at the end of the aspects video. And first, I want to just thank you all for being here and remind you, if you've come this far, to go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe to my channel, share this with somebody if you think it will resonate or help them. And I'm going to give a little bit of attention to the tarot card that is already sitting on the side here. This is the Seven of Swords, and it relates to the third 1/3 of the Sun's transit through Aquarius. So the last 10 days of the Sun's transit through Aquarius is represented in tarot by the Seven of Swords. Now, you know, swords are challenging. Swords talk a lot about conflict and challenges and the things that we have to go through. And it's all in terms of our communications, our thoughts, the planning that we make. You know, do we plan against ourselves? Do we plan against others? Do we challenge ourselves? Do we challenge others? So Seven of Swords, like in Six of Swords, you saw somebody moving away from a situation. Seven of Swords has a deceptive energy, and, you know, probably you can see this okay, but this person really looks like they're making off with some stuff that's not theirs, and probably more than they need. Right? So there's a deceptive energy to that. There's a little shadiness. But, you know, I just want to remind you, you know, that this isn't specifically about one person doing a very bad deed and shame on them, okay? Everybody keeps secrets, all right? Sometimes in an especially tricky situation, we may find that, like, the less we say, the better. I know that most of the time when I realize that I think somebody's lied to me, it was a lie of omission, right? If you omit something and you allow somebody to think something else, that's a lie, okay? That's deceit. So be careful when you deceive, you know, because everybody tells little white lies from time to time. Be careful when you deceive, that your deceit isn't harming anyone, isn't going to bring down trouble on anybody else's life, okay, including yours. And also, don't deceive out of habit, all right? Don't deceive if you don't have to, okay? And I know it's funny because this picture really looks like a theft and I'm talking about lying, But lying is a form of theft because we withhold the truth that people are entitled to have. So just be careful. Don't deceive out of habit. Don't deceive when you don't have to. Make sure whatever deceit you're engaged in isn't harming yourself or anybody. And step away from it as quickly as you can, okay? We want to live honest lives here, okay? We want to be impeccable with our words. We want to say what is true. So, remember that when you are in this phase of potential for deceit. And now I just want to remind myself and these cards that I am shuffling that the sun is in Aquarius and that Saturn is there too. And Saturn rules Aquarius, and it's all about, our stability, our structural integrity, the solid foundations upon which we stand, and our sense of duty to make sure that we have solid foundations. And in Aquarius, that's really about everybody having solid foundations, everybody being able to get their basic needs met so that they can go out and be members of a community and thrive. And the moon is in Gemini most of the day today, a very talkative, communicative vibe, and it's waxing gibbous now, so it's time to take action and start putting our plans into motion. We've got these sort of challenging Mars stuff going on here, this challenging Mercury and Pluto stuff. We're really struggling with ourselves to get to the transformation that is available to us at this time and to overcome our fears. But we also have this beautiful vibe of, initiative and opportunity to make changes, like to really act on making changes in the way we approach life so that we can, do better for ourselves, right? So, I love that. I even love this sense of radiant, expanding positivity with the moon square Jupiter, even if there is that warning to avoid overindulgence. That's a warning at all times. Avoid overindulgence. Modesty in all things. Not modesty. What is it? It's... Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway, Leo full moon is coming up. Saturn is all over the page, still and yet. Three of Wands. So Three of Wands says that we've taken our plans and we've made our plans and we've taken some action and we're waiting to see the results, okay? Wands are fire, and that's about your sense of initiative, okay? Your ability to expand. And communication is part of that as well, okay? So fire is just, motivation, drive, fierceness, strength through assertiveness. And the Three of Wands says, we've taken some actions, we've done what we need to do, and for now, we still have plans. We're waiting for something to come in order to make the next push forward. So that's a great place to be in, sort of almost waiting for your ship to come in, right? Because the Four of Wands is a celebration where you get to take a break. So, being vigilant, making sure you follow through on things, making sure things develop the way that you would like to see them develop, and playing a bit of the waiting game. All right, so that's what I see there, and I think that's all I have to say about it too. I am Melanie Rose. I appreciate you all so much for joining me today. If you have a thought, comment, question, if any of this brings anything up for you, please share it in the comments below, and I will look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for more daily aspects.